Choosing the right location is the first and most important step when building a forest shelter. Even the best built structure won't help you if it's in a bad spot. The right location will keep you safe, dry, and warm. The wrong one can leave you exposed to flooding, falling branches, or even predators. That's why smart survivalists always begin by observing their surroundings before picking up a single stick. Look for flat, elevated ground that's not at the bottom of a hill or two close to a stream. Low-lying areas often collect water during rain, turning your shelter site into a puddle or mud pit. You also want to avoid areas with signs of frequent animal activity, such as droppings, tracks, or burrows. Animals are less of a threat when they're not disturbed, so giving them space is best for both you and them. Another critical factor is overhead safety. Always scan the trees above for dead branches, commonly called widowmakers, which can fall in high wind or rain. Setting up under one could lead to serious injury. Instead, find a spot with healthy living trees that can support part of your shelter if needed. Convenience is also important. You want to be near natural building materials like sticks, branches, and leaves so you're not hauling things long distances. If possible, stay near a clean water source, but not so close that you risk flooding or run-ins with animals that come to drink. Sunlight is another consideration. A spot with early morning sun can help you stay warm after a cold night, while shade during the afternoon prevents overheating in warm weather. In survival, energy and time are everything. Choosing the right location saves both, while greatly increasing your comfort and chances of success in the wild. It's the smart first move before any shelter build. Once you've found a safe and strategic location, the next crucial step is gathering your building materials. In a forest survival situation, you want to collect everything you'll need before you start building. This prevents unnecessary trips back and forth, saving time and energy. Even a simple shelter requires more materials than most people expect, especially if you want it to be waterproof, insulated, and stable. Start by collecting long, sturdy branches for the frame. These will form the backbone of your structure, so choose sticks that are thick, straight, and strong. Ideally about as thick as your wrist. You'll need at least one long ridgepole for the center and several others for side supports. If you're building a lean-to, make sure the supporting pole can reach across your chosen space between two trees. Next, gather thinner branches and sticks to fill in the frame. These create the skeleton that will hold your insulation in place. You don't need perfect logs, just enough material to layer over and trap debris. Then focus on insulation. This is where the forest becomes your supply store. Collect dry leaves, pine needles, moss, ferns, or strips of bark. You'll need a lot, ideally several large armfuls. These materials help keep out wind and rain while also trapping your body heat inside the shelter. If you have gear like a tarp or paracord, you can use them to anchor your structure or speed up the process, but the goal is to build even if you have nothing but the environment around you. The key is to move efficiently. Look for fallen branches and deadwood rather than cutting live trees, and always check for insects or rot. Gathering materials is physical work, but if you do it right, the building part becomes much faster and more effective. Building the frame is the foundation of your entire forest shelter. It determines the strength, stability, and effectiveness of your structure. A poorly built frame will collapse in bad weather or fail to support the insulation, leaving you exposed to the elements. That's why this step is critical, even for beginners. Fortunately, a simple and strong frame design like the lean-to or A-frame is easy to build using materials found in the forest. To start, lay down your ridgepole, the main horizontal branch that supports the shelter's weight. In a lean-to, this pole typically rests between two sturdy trees, while in an A-frame, it can be elevated on a tripod or Y-shaped sticks. Make sure it's secure and can't roll or slide, as this is what the rest of your shelter will depend on. Next, begin leaning large branches against one side of the ridgepole to form a sloped wall. These branches should be placed close together with no large gaps. The tighter the spacing, the better the frame will hold your insulation and shed rain. In an A-frame, repeat this on both sides, forming a triangular tent shape with an open entrance. It's important to keep everything stable as you go. Use natural notches in the wood or lash branches together with paracord, vines, or even shoelaces if necessary. The more secure your frame, the less it will shift in the wind or under the weight of leaves and debris. Once the basic shape is complete, step back and check the angles. Water should run off the sides, not pool or flow into your sleeping area. Adjust if needed. A solid frame turns a pile of sticks into a real shelter. Take your time, build it right, and you'll have a safe, sturdy place to rest, even in the heart of the wild. Once the frame is built, insulating your forest shelter is the next critical step, and it's what truly makes the difference between simply having a structure and having a functional, protective space to survive the night. Insulation keeps you dry during rain, warm during cold nights, and hidden when necessary. Without it, even a strong frame won't prevent hypothermia or discomfort, especially if temperatures drop or the wind picks up. Begin by covering your frame with layers of natural materials. The forest offers plenty. Dry leaves, pine needles, moss, bark, and evergreen branches all work well. The key is to layer generously. The thicker, the better. Aim for at least 6-12 inches of coverage to create a dense barrier. This layering traps air and blocks wind, helping to regulate the inside temperature of your shelter. In colder or wetter climates, more is better. Start from the bottom and work your way up, overlapping materials like shingles on a roof. This helps water run off instead of seeping in. Avoid green leaves or wet debris if you can. While they may look useful, they don't insulate well and may actually pull heat away from your body. Don't forget the ground. Sleeping directly on dirt or cold ground will sap body heat fast. Create a thick bed of leaves, ferns, or pine boughs inside the shelter to insulate yourself from below. This natural mattress not only adds warmth but also comfort, improving your rest and overall survival chances. Insulating your shelter isn't just about comfort. It's about energy conservation. When you're warm and dry, you don't waste calories shivering or fighting the cold. Every branch and leaf you place is an investment in safety, strength, and peace of mind. In the wild, proper insulation often means the difference between surviving and thriving. Building a shelter is only half the job. If you plan to use fire for warmth, cooking, or light, placing it correctly and safely is absolutely essential. A poorly positioned fire can put your shelter at risk of smoke damage, injury, or even burning down entirely. Done right, though, fire becomes your best friend in the forest, offering heat, comfort, and protection throughout the night. Start by choosing a spot for your fire that is close enough to provide warmth, but far enough to avoid any sparks or flames reaching your shelter. Generally, 3 to 5 feet away from the entrance is a safe distance. Always clear the area around the fire of dry leaves, twigs, and flammable materials to reduce the risk of it spreading. Dig a shallow fire pit or surround the fire with a circle of rocks to help contain it. If you're using a lean-to style shelter, placing the fire directly in front of the open side allows radiant heat to reflect inside. For even better heat direction, build an air reflector wall using logs or large rocks on the opposite side of the fire to bounce warmth back into your shelter. This simple trick can significantly increase how warm you stay at night. Never build your fire under overhanging branches and avoid setting it on peat or root-covered ground, which can smolder and spread underground. Always keep water or dirt nearby to extinguish the fire quickly if needed. Finally, don't make the fire too large. Small, controlled flames are easier to manage and still provide all the benefits. Remember, fire in the forest is a tool, not a tool. Respect it, control it, and place it smartly, and it will become a reliable ally in your survival journey, keeping you warm, fed, and safe in the heart of the wild. In any survival situation, speed, simplicity, and smart use of resources are the keys to success, and this is especially true when building a forest shelter. Time and energy are limited in the wild, especially if night is approaching, the weather is turning, or you're already tired or hungry. That's why keeping your shelter design and construction process efficient can make a huge difference in your safety and comfort. The biggest mistake beginners make is overcomplicating their shelter. They try to build something complex, strong, and impressive, but end up wasting time and energy only to realize it doesn't meet the basic needs: warmth, dryness, and protection. In survival, your goal isn't to build a cabin. It's to create a fast, functional space that conserves heat, shields you from wind and rain, and gives you a secure place to rest. Using simple designs like the lean-to or A-frame allows you to work quickly and adapt to your surroundings. These structures don't require special tools, fancy knots, or perfect materials. They rely on natural shapes, gravity, and smart position. If you gather materials efficiently and know what to prioritize, like insulation and fire placement, you can have a shelter built in under an hour that actually works. Also, reusing natural features can speed up the process. Fallen logs, rock walls, and closely spaced trees can act as instant support, saving you time and effort. The forest is full of tools. You just need to see them that way. Ultimately, the key is not to panic, overthink, or try to build the perfect structure. The most effective shelter is the one you can finish in time to protect you. Mastering speed and simplicity allows you to conserve energy, stay safer, and build confidence every time you step into the wild. In survival, simple often means smart.